Alright, I think it's live. Testing. 1, 2, 1, 2. This just opened up a window. So I think this should be working. Hey guys, and welcome to my second live Q&A session. The kind of purpose of this is to give you guys a chance to ask me questions instead of the typical Q&A. I will answer them live, which means I don't really have time to prepare, and these are going to be my gut answers. So thanks for tuning in, and this will be part of my report that will be released tonight. So first question comes from Addie. As an ACC judge, what is the most important thing you think current FL competitors should watch out for? Pitfalls, good moves. As a judge and someone who's worked closely on the development of the ACC, I think the big thing to realize, and what we've seen from beta and some of the early first round matches, is the emphasis on story, but the emphasis on story related to combat. And the probably biggest thing that I would have to say is not tangenting. It's very hard because you want to add so much to the story and depth, but keep it to the combat, keep it centered around the emotion of why the fight is happening, and less about trying to come up with all these other existential reasons. Stick to the basics. It's a duel. There's a reason for the duel, but why do we care about these two people fighting? And if you can make that happen, work in organic elements, play off each other's character sheets, I can't really overstate how many matches I've read where there's just no coherency between character sheets. Like you don't see anyone using a feat or playing off an aspect. That's probably what I would say is the most important. Stuart, in all of his wisdom, asks, is it working? Yes, it's working. I think. I don't know. You guys tell me. All right. Next question. What are your personal thoughts on the hard capping of 1,000 words in Fading Light? That comes from Milu. I don't know how it's supposed to be pronounced. Sorry, Max. My view on the word cap is that for the sake of the competition, I don't see it being a problem or an issue. In general, I typically have a problem with the concept of limiting creative expression, but for the sake of the tournament, I understand why the cap was imposed, and having a hard cap versus a, implied soft cap is definitely more beneficial for the sake of competition. So that's my thoughts on it. For the regular ACC, you'll notice that this is only for the tournament. For the regular ACC, you still have no limit. There's no cap on your creativity. But I will say that when I was originally taught about the ACC, I was originally trained to aim for the 600 to 800 word mark, and so I still tend to aim for that mark. And if I go a little over, I'm okay. So I guess that's my take on it. Next question comes from Stuart again. What, as members and leaders of Arcona at the current moment in time, do we need to strive to improve on ourselves and on the clan level? I think that we can always strive to get better. We can always, do better in that sense. But the biggest thing is that we have to keep open minds. And if the second that we start closing our minds, the second we stop trying new things, not being afraid to take challenges, not being afraid to take risks, not being afraid to test out things, to try something new. even if something didn't work in the past, maybe something we do this time is different. No idea, no matter how silly or crazy it is, should be thrown out. And I do try my best to listen to all the input and questions you guys, or ideas you guys have. But ultimately, at the end of the day, myself, Legs, the Arconae, we tend to talk things over and decide what we think is best overall in the direction of where we're going and what we're doing. But I think that's my probably biggest thing is be willing to put the work in. Don't bring up complaints if you're not willing to, put the work in yourself, and keep an open mind. And I think that's something that can transition to the rest of the Brotherhood in general. Open-mindedness will drive us forward. Closed-mindedness will destroy our club. Aaron Winterson, who I believe is Laxicon. Yes? No? I mean, I hope so. Otherwise, I just sound like a complete jerk. But I've on 3 hours of sleep, so forgive me. What are your personal thoughts on the use of armory sabers? An armory saber is an armory saber. It's not special, it's pretty dull, but it's still an energy sword, and it's something to be, happy that you get to tote around. You are limited to Form 0, which is the basics of lightsaber motion, but it's still, in my opinion, a very cool weapon. I mean, there's no more iconic weapon in the entire science fiction world than a lightsaber. Even if you're not a Star Wars fan, you know what a lightsaber is. It's just one of those things. And I think that it helps give you a little taste of it, and makes it all that more rewarding when you get to DJK and all of a sudden you have this list of lightsabers you can select from. And Max is correcting me that also it's pronounced Melu, just for you to know. Melu. I hope that's what I said originally. Melu. Oh, oops. Melu. Got it. Done. Boom. Next. Another question from Aaron. As the Consul of Arcona, one of your responsibilities is monitoring your battle teams. Given that Apex Brigade has recently been rejuvenated, where do you see it in 3 months' time? Apex Brigade came out of an initiative of, at the end of the Crusade, I put out a challenge to Keldroma and said, if you guys really want another team, if you guys are active and want to really show me that, show me. Write a proposal. Give me ideas. Send me ideas. I gave the option of using, these new IG-100 droids that Magna Guard. I can't pronounce anything. Magna Guard. To use in some form of fictional team. The idea put forward by Adam, I believe, and Marick, and a few others, was, it was kind of what I was looking at. And I'm happy to say that I'm glad that the ideas kind of stuck around. I really, really hope that, you guys as a team can hit the ground running, start coming up with that, build that personality, build that persona, make it something that you guys are proud of and that other people will gravitate towards. If you build it, they will come. That's kind of always been my philosophy. When I started my battle team, that's what I did. I had my battle team for over a year, and you work with your members, you take their strong suits, you figure out what they like, and you cater your activity around that. So battle teams are a really cool way for you to kind of focus with a few other people on something you have in common and really develop your characters. And I really hope that Apex continues to push forward and take off, really, because I have a lot of high expectations for it. Alright, this is one of many questions. What's the 5th digit of your sister's number? And of course, Mark, being the genius that he is, what is the 1st digit of your sister's number? Again. What is your ideal setting for a date and why? Asks David, aka Cell2 or Celadon. I like long walks on the beach with sunsets, rainbows, unicorns, and looking deeply into the other person's eyes. No, not really. I don't know. I'm pretty amiable. I've learned that when going on dates now, that the best thing to do is pick a place you like, so that even if the date sucks, at least you got a really nice bubble tea out of it. Oh, there's a long one from Mel U. As Consul of Arcona, how will you go about addressing the issue of unbalanced rewards or awards? Example, somebody may get a dark cross for pointing out a spelling mistake in the academy, while others require more effort. As a member of the Auxiliary Dark Council and a Consul, the best I can do is to follow along with the guidelines set forth by the Master-at-Arms and the Master-at-Arms staff, and make sure that I'm doing everything in my power to make sure that you guys are being properly rewarded for the work you do. When looking at certain awards, sometimes there are other things that you may not see, and it might not even show in the rec, but, we should never be looking at someone else getting an award and feeling any type of envy or any negative thoughts. If someone gets an award, we are happy for them. That's, how we should be. It's a volunteer club. In terms of balance, I do see that there could be some work in terms of balancing out who gets what and for what. It's a discussion, though, that needs to really be acknowledged by the Dark Council before we can make any progress on it. So it's something that we'd all have to sit down with and talk, through different solutions. It's been hinted at, it's been alluded at, but as of right now, as Consul, what I can promise is that I will do everything in my power to make sure that your efforts and anything you do to contribute will be rewarded in some way. Whether it's as the same award I feel is, proper, again, I have to work within the confines of the Master-at-Arms and their the guidelines they have set forth. So, not sure if that's the answer you were looking for, but that's what I got. Stuart asks, when you giving me DA? I'll give you DA when you, start doing your job. Like, go be a quaestor or something. Addie asks, when are you going to bed and have you eaten? #mom. Well, Mom, I did eat before I got home on my way home from work. I had pizza, because I live in New York, and pizza's better than anything you guys have anywhere else. So, suck it. And I'll go to bed later. And this is not exactly a DB member, but a close friend asking, when do I get a bubble tea date? And the answer is Sprite next time I'm in Texas. But that's going to be for a while, I think. I'm sorry. Stuart asks, when... I can't even... When... I'm going to just read the question as he wrote it because I'm not going to bother correcting his grammar. When you getting an Xbox One so I can beat your arse at Madden again? I'm in the process of it. Just about finding the right deal. This is the only time where you'll see my Jewish side come out. I keep looking on eBay and everything, trying to find the best package deal to buy an Xbox. But soon I will, show you how you actually play Madden and not be a little bitch and go for a 2-point conversion, when it's not adequate at all. It was wrong, and you're a douchebag. Melu asks, how do you specifically grade an ACC battle? Do you have a checklist of how many feats abilities have been used, etc.? We go off the rubric. So my process is I read through each post, and I have the post here, and then on two tabs, or on my second dual screen, since I have a dual screen setup, I will have the character sheets here, and I'll have the match here, and I will go back and forth. I can quickly look at a sheet, check something, but I'm typically going through. The first thing I comb through is syntax, because that's the most noticeable, and those are the things that, if your syntax is off, if something's worded awkwardly, I can, if it's stopping me from reading, I can, make notes and be like, this is why I'm taking off a point for syntax, because it's making it hard for me to enjoy your story. Then, as I'm going, I'm paying attention to force usage, realism. If it's a follow-up post, I'm following the continuity, making sure that, was his lightsaber knocked out and all of a sudden it's back in his hand and you never told me why. All those elements of the rubric are constantly going, and I don't really have a checklist. I just kind of read and then go off the sheets. I check things, and once I've finished going through and making all my notes on each individual post, I then look at the scoring, apply scores, and then ultimately I make my decision based off of that. I don't fully believe that numbers tell everything originally, so sometimes if the numbers are even or if they're off by a little bit, I'll go back, check something, and then write my final description and explain why I made the decision I made, typically based on who I feel won. And that's my process as the judge. I think Mav, Saren, Halk, Shad have different approaches, but that's at least my take on it. But ultimately, as I said in the ACC fundamentals, can't stress the rubric enough. Focus on that, and yeah. Stewart again asks, why do you never take the 2-point conversion when you lose so many games to me for not going big? Because we've only played like 2 games and you've been a little bitch in both of them. Alright? When we play again, I am going to beat you so bad that you never want to play Madden ever again. Good day, sir. Mark, shut up. I'm not answering that question. Addie asks, is Sheba going to be the next con? Well, I mean, she's the official mascot, but I think Sheba is a little tired right now. Right, Sheebs? Much Sheebs. Very Dutch. Also, I'm not going to answer these questions, but apparently Abby has now discovered Sprite and the mutual connection between Theta, so I will let those two get a room and continue to answer questions. Saren's asking for an invite, so someone want to give him the link? I don't know where it is. Anyway, Max Melu asks, how much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Well, it depends. Do you mean an African woodchuck or a European woodchuck? What's the first number of Wally Cat's phone number? Again, Stuart, and everyone else who's going to ask me that question. Alright, that's all for now. Let me check. Anyone else have questions? I'm great. I'm glad that my Q&A has now put Sprite and Abby in contact with each other. And now I'm terrified, because that's actually terrifying. Yeah, so that's all I have for now in terms of questions. if you guys have anything else. Oh, okay, there's a bunch now. Also, Sprite, you come to New York. Anyone that goes out to anyone, I accept all people coming to New York. It's the best city in the world, and you can ask Sam. I'm a very hospitable host. Hospitable. Mark, again, same question, same answer. Do you have any, Mel, you asked, do you have any unique competition ideas for Arcona that you are yet to implement? Speaking of that specifically, you're about to see in my report the pilot launch of the ACB, which is the Anti-Contract Bureau. It's been a passion project of me and Wantilla, Sam, both of us, worked really hard on it. It's something that I implemented back when I was battle team leader and started off. There's a full proposal into the voice, and it's just in the process of going through that. So my hope is we're going to be running a monthly ladder, where a monthly leaderboard, I should say, where your stop buzzing me, Addie. All right, I'm not answering you. The concept being is that there's going to be a fictional title called First Blade of Arcona, and the first blade is going to be whoever has the most contract points at the end of each month. And so for each contract, depending on the grade you get for the contract, you will get a point value. Those point values reset at the end of every month, but whoever has the most, ends up winning. All right, hold on, Sheba. Go ahead. Attack. I think Sheba had to go be a guard dog because Fergus came home. But so you'll see more information about that in my report. So yeah, I'll explain more in the report. But basically know that that's going to be probably the unique thing you're going to see for Arcona. And I'm also announcing the results to the sports drink competition that had some really cool entries. Shut up, Stuart. Oh, this t-shirt, it's a Woot shirt, but it's one of the best Woot shirts ever. Or maybe it was T-Fury, but definitely one of the best t-shirts I think I have. It's up there with my pink Vader shirt that I wore last time, but I wanted to change it up a little. Lexic also asked, what I was trying to say is because of the controversy over whether an armory saber is really useful against the fully trained Sith obelisk crap. It is such a low-powered blade a useful tool. I think anytime you're using an energy sword, even if it's not a full strength, which armory sabers aren't per se weaker, they're just, maybe not as sturdily built, and maybe the hilt is, it's not customized at all, it's just a basic silver hilt. It's very, crude in that sense, whereas when you get into DJK, you have different shapes, you have different styles of hilts, and all that different, stuff. I think the real thing to consider is that not the saber itself, but the fact that you're using Form 0. Even if you have a primary lightsaber form at +3 with Form 0, it's going to be very hard going against a Equite 4 or an Elder. But it's still very doable. You've seen examples in canon. If you watch the Clone Wars animated series, you see Padawans, they can still fight with the basics. You can weave a saber around. You understand the basics of using a weightless weapon effectively, that, in the gyroscopic motions of it. But, you could totally, you can totally, it's more about how clever you are. The example Saren will always use is, a Padawan cuts a, Sith Lord in half in Phantom Menace. So, anything's possible as long as it's, unique. And to further back that up, Saren is telling me that the Armory Saber is indeed a full strength lightsaber, which is what I thought too, so I'm not sure if maybe that's something in the lightsaber exam that's old, but keep in mind that the lightsaber guide is being rewritten as we speak, and on top of that, we will be getting probably a new exam to follow up with it. So thank you, Saren, for that clarification point. What Sprite again asking questions, which is awesome, and I'm gonna try and recruit. We should try and recruit her later if anyone's paying attention. Cough, Addie, cough. What do you find is your biggest personal challenge being so involved in the DB? Biggest challenge is definitely work-life social balance. I have a pretty social life. I go out on the weekends with my friends. I do take care of, a child, Chiba. I did just adopt her recently, so it's, taking care of her, making sure I'm home, every, 10 or 12 hours or so she's never alone for too long. This is being a leader of any type of organization, whether it's a sports club, whether it's a, or if you're like, organizing productions in general, like what I do for a living. It's about sacrifice, and you have to sacrifice your time to do the things you like to do and to help others. And whether I'm producing a project, doing something in the DB, grading, approving character sheets, it's very important to me that as long as you enjoy what you're doing, you're not really working. And that's why I kind of try and balance my life around that concept. It's tough sometimes, and there's definitely times where I'm at work, not supposed to be on my phone, and my WhatsApp is blowing up, and I'm trying to, answer, a very lengthy question using just my phone. But it's an interesting balance. You work with it. Everyone's different, and I wouldn't change a lot because the DB is very important to me. The people I meet in it, all of you guys, are very important parts of my life, and friends. I've made some friends that are, friends for life. So. Stewart asks, with the DC continuing, how do you plan on developing the clan, as well as where do you see us standing at the end of the Crusade? Obviously, I see us standing at the end of the Crusade as victorious. There's not really an alternative in my mind. We win, that's what we do, we're Arcona. You can throw whatever you want at us, you can throw any, challenge, obstacle, we overcome it, we endure, we figure out a way to win, and that's what we're going to do. With it going on, we just got to keep members active, keep members engaged, make sure that we're encouraging new members, make sure that we are promoting a good environment, fun activities to, keep going. And Sullivan is pointing out that the training saber that you get originally is not full powered. So to clarify, training sabers are underpowered. So I wouldn't take on a full-on Jedi Knight or even a Sith, or even like a Sith or a Krath or an Equite with a training saber. It's really designed as just a training weapon. Mark, I don't know the answer to that question. That's not something I have any control over. I took care of everything else for you. That's out of my, that's all I got. I'm sorry, buddy. I have no control over that process of promotions at that level. That's way above my pay grade. Yes, Stuart, exactly. That's definitely the difference. Someone else, Walker Bow asks, oh, WB is here. Nice. The meaning of life is obviously 42. I think that's pretty obvious. Alright, I've definitely ranted and rambled for way too long, so any last questions? Because otherwise I'm going to wrap this up and you guys can all go on with your lives. Stuart asks, will you marry me? And the answer is God, no. Think of that. Think of our poor children. It would be like, stay together for the children, but it would be terrible because I would want to kill myself every day, waking up next to Stu and him poking me, going, "Hey, hey, hey, Wally, hey, Wally," or staying up, until 5 a.m. while I'm trying to sleep. I'm putting noobs in JA. Bzzz. Or, I don't know, something like that. Okay, I'm tired. So, yeah. Jesus crap. If we win all the things this time, will you shave your head? No. I made that, for anyone who doesn't know, I made a bet going into the last plan of the Dark Crusade that if we won and came out on top, I would buzz my head. And everyone, if you don't know, I really like my hair. I very much like my hair. So no, but I will think of something else funny that I can do if we end up winning. Keep an eye out for that, but I'll definitely put some incentive out. Sprite, you're my favorite. So I guess Saren's question is, what is next for Wally after Arcona Consul? It's a loaded question. Political answer is whatever ends up happening happens. My entire career in the DB has been literally being told what I'm going to do next. I haven't, I started off as a battle team leader, was told I was going to be a QUA when we were clanned. Then, we win a war, and then they're like, oh, well, you have to apply for Pro Consul. I was like, I don't want to, but that, and then, transitioning into Consul just kind of happened. So I never really planned to be here. I don't have any immediate plans to step away, but, ultimately, whatever's best for Arcona and whatever's best for the club, I'll try and do my best to, do my duty to both. I'm an Arconae to my core, and I'm also a member of this club, so whatever I can do in my capacity to help. If something, God forbid, ever happened to Mav, as much as I love him, I would totally want to steal his job. So, yeah, Combat Master would be fun, I think. And probably the only aspiration I ever really had in the club. But, whatever comes up, whatever happens, and whatever I can do to help in general. Not the answer he's probably looking for, but whatever. Addie asks, who in the clan would you marry if not Stu? I think that's pretty obvious that, Sam kind of laid claim to me, so it would, probably end up being me and Sam. He's the only person who lets me be Little Spoon. It's very emotional for me. It sucks being 6'2", and the only person that I've ever met who can make me be Little Spoon is Sam, so. Yes, Aaron, you're so clever and subtle and witty. Thank you. All right, guys. That's about all I got. I'm tired, and I'm gonna go finish up this report, and then I'm gonna go see about this ACC stuff. So, wait, is there a Tim? Oh, and just in case Kiwi gets upset, he asked earlier. Maris asked, what's the 3 best starting Pokemon? And the answer is Mudkip, and Charmander. Brayson asked, what's the safe word? The safe word is arugula. Arugula. Timmy, we can't get married because that would be sibling cest. So, I'd rather just us be, I'd rather us just be bros, like true bros, because you complete me. and one is not well without the other. Plus, also, Guido might actually kill me if I did that. Yes, that's why. That's the real reason. Because Guido would actually kill me if I tried stealing Tim. I've been awake for way too long. What do you think, Sheba? Alright. Last question. I hear you like mudkips. Fucking love mudkips. That's right. I just cursed. I don't think that's good, but... Yellow swag. Thanks everyone again for tuning in. Stuart, go away. And no, I am not an Nentar, no matter how many times you guys ask me, no matter James trying to change my name on the admin side. I am not an Nentar, I am not an Arenos, I am simply an Arconan. Get it through your guys' heads. Nah, Cyndaquil is a bitch. Charmander is the original fire Pokemon, turns into Charizard, Charizard's the shit. And Mudkip is just obviously Mudkip. But the best Pokemon actually ever is, I'd have to say Arconae. I mean, come on, it's a giant puppy that can blow fire. It's like if Sheba could make fire. What do you say, Sheba? Sheba don't give a shit. Alright, that's it for now. Thanks, guys, for all the great questions, and hopefully this was enlightening, or at the very least, you guys enjoyed and got some humor out of me doing this. So,